Hi, this is Dr. Brandy Hurst. I'm a clinical psychologist and I thought I would do just a background video, fairly brief. Although I started doing human services kind of work in 1972 after graduating from college. I was in Child Protective Services, or in Montana they call it Child Welfare Services. Then went to Alaska, worked in the alcohol and drug treatment field for a couple of years before going to get my master's degree, specifically in alcohol studies, alcohol and drug. And worked then for another 15 years or more, or about that, before I did a couple of years of employee assistance work, and then returned to school again, got my doctorate in clinical psychology, and had been doing that for 16, 17 years more before retiring to move. So now, after a couple of years of thinking of what I'd done, what I'd enjoyed, I decided to put things into a video channel of some kind. And because I found so many of the things that I did, background, I worked mostly fairly short-term with people. Gave them information, on understanding what the dynamics were, what was going on. They could help them make changes. And so this is kind of a distillation of what I had educated people about, helped people get started, sent them on their way to go do, and often with good results. Some people would come back a few months later and say they didn't follow through, or they did, but there's more issues that they want to sort through, and so it was kind of an episodic short-term work. What I found was that focusing on the brain really made a difference rather than the person. People blame themselves, or they blame their spouse or other people, their parents or whatever, but they make it about personality and person, and most things we can make about biology, about the brain, the way the brain works, because we have a poor view of what we can do. Our sense is, I think it, so I'll do it. I've decided, so I will make it. And then if they don't make it, they blame themselves, or again, somebody else. So it turns out the brain doesn't work that way. And it can help us tremendously. It can be wonderfully great, bright, and terribly stupid. So what you're going to learn is based on brain research, or actually an original kind of hypothesis 60 years ago, 65 years ago maybe, about what makes a memory. And Dr. Hebb posited that a brain cell fires in connection with the firing of another one and another one, another one, another one, and they find kind of a circuit. As they kind of flow together in this circuit, that flowing together, that circuiting of those coordinated with each other, make a memory. And pretty much, as what I've read, even though it's dramatically more complicated than that, that still fits. The flow may not be a little teeny circuit, saying, oh, you got to find that circuit to get that memory. That's probably not the case. And the circuits may be much more of what I refer to as a flow. Think of music. Music flows, and as one note followed by the next, followed by the next, the next, in a certain timing, a certain pattern, we hear that as music. Well, the brain kind of is getting those flows and interpreting that, and And I'll tell you about this in the Fire Together, Wire Together. So if you've heard that reference, fire together, wire together, nerve cells that fire together, wire together, that's what a lot of this will be about. And I'll take what I've learned through time, pulled together, used to educate and help people make the changes that build new circuits. I'm going to focus on anxiety a lot, depression, some. There's probably other kinds of depression than the type that we're going to be talking about, the kind of learned type. There's endogenous or biological depressions that maybe not so much fit that, or medication or other changes in the body become important. Alcohol and drug addictions, as well as recovery from all of those. Post-traumatic stress started in the middle 70s, where we started getting Vietnam vets, then later Desert Storm vets. I've had a couple of Korean vets, as well as many other kinds of traumas from abuse, sexual traumas. So these things that fit into, in that case, kind of a combination of anxiety and depression. Those are what I've worked with. Each of those seems to respond well to the interventions that I'll be describing. And even though I'm doing a very simplistic and almost metaphorical description of what's going on in the brain, it's worked well with people who have no background, as well as physicians, nurses, professionals who have a biology or medical background. So I hope this gives you a flavor of who I am, but, view on and learn about Fire Together, Wire Together. I'll be breaking videos into different topic areas, describing what the problems are, how it fits with this brain model, and then solutions. Also will be, since I worked for many years in the alcohol and drug treatment field, I will be going through some recovery things that honestly fit quite well with the Fire Together, Wire Together in the form of the rewiring. Alcohol and drug treatment fits perfectly except for the added issue of addiction. But a lot has to happen before somebody's actually addicted. And so that's where the Fire Together, Wire Together particularly works. And then staving off withdrawal is an added feature of addiction. So I hope you'll enjoy, pick and choose, watch all of them, ask questions, send back by email. And hopefully you'll learn and be helped in the same way that many people did. My theory, here's a proviso. My theory is that if some education, some basic issues help, excellent, go do it. A few provisos. One is making the changes will never happen as fast as you want. There's probably going to be some failure in the process. That doesn't mean failure. It means it's easy to know how to throw a frisbee and then blow it when you throw it. So practice, practice, practice. If things get overwhelming, if there's too much agitation, anxiety with any of the changes that you try, back up, slow down, don't go so fast. Get professional help if you need it. The background will help you when you're seeing somebody. If you do see a professional, it'll help that process be faster, hopefully. But it may help you to not need to go see somebody for big-time therapy and big-time costs. This will cost little, if any, and mostly just take your investment, your time, because really you are the one who always does the work. Therapists, they don't. I mean, they do. They're with you, they analyze, they help, they facilitate the changes, but it's always the patient that does the work. And sometimes patients think the therapist is going to do something that fixes them. The therapist will do things, but it's what they get you to do that fixes in time. And on the other hand, there are times when they also are limited and they're working on getting you medication or other things that can help. So hopefully what we do, what you do here will help with the maximum flexibility in your using your time the way you want and the minimum of costs. I won't be able to entertain individual questions. This is a general educational format, and so you may need to see a professional if you do need more direct services. Okay, with that, I'm going to go on to what I refer to as wired together fundamentals. The idea is that we can't do anything about how you're wired, but we can understand how this wire together works and how to make changes. So I hope to see you in the next video.